What's up, internet? I'm Brian MacDuff, aka BMac, and welcome to another video. And today we're looking at the newest member of the Beats family, the Dre Studio Pro. But what exactly makes these Dre Studio Pro headphones pro, and can they live up to their name? Let's discuss. So let's get right into it by talking about the Dre Studio Pro design and how these babies are looking, feeling, and working on the outside. The first thing you're probably gonna notice with the Studio Pros is how similar they actually look to the Beats Studio 3s. They're practically the same size and weight. They feature the same collapsible headphone style design with notch style adjustments. Just this time around, the Studio Pros perhaps have a little bit less branding than the Studio 3s have. And the Studio Pros do once again come with a traveling protective case. Although I must say the Studio Pros travel case is a lot flimsier and a little less protective than I was hoping and expecting it to be. As it relates to comfort, you do have just enough clamping pressure to keep them fitting securely on your head without causing any level of discomfort, and they do have some flexibility in pivoting around the ears to help accommodate your particular head size and shape. Plus, let's be honest, Beats have always been one of the nicer looking and more stylish brands of headphones available on the market. You're once again getting that here. And with the Studio Pros, at the moment, you are getting 4 different colors to be able to choose from. All of them have matte finishes in either black, deep brown, navy, or sandstone colors. But unfortunately, no level of water or dust resistance here, which is kind of surprising. You would figure the pro level of headphones here from Beats by Dre to have at least some kind of protection to a little bit of water or a little bit of dust. These are studio headphones, they are pro headphones, but at the end of the day, they are mainly Bluetooth headphones. And that's just something I've kind of come to expect out of a pair of Bluetooth headphones by now. You're also gonna notice the LED indicator lights for connectivity and battery levels, once again returning here. And you do have track controls built into the left ear cup once again, alongside an auxiliary jack for hardwired listening. But this time, you have a USB-C port instead of a lightning port built in, which is gonna be used for charging and for lossless streaming. And this USB-C port is pretty important. It's basically what's making the Beats Studio Pro headphones their own standalone pair of headphones. But before we get into that, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here, let's quickly touch on the performance of these headphones and what you could expect to get out of them as it relates to certain tech specs. The Beats Studio Pros offer a Bluetooth 5.3 connection, which offers solid range, stability, and of course, listening quality. And we do have support for the AAC audio codec, but unfortunately no kind of support for the higher res audio codecs like LDAC or aptX. Meaning that over Bluetooth, things theoretically aren't gonna sound quite as dynamic or quite as high fidelity as some other pairs of headphones in their same price range. And for those of you who are wondering what the microphone quality is like, check this out. This is what the microphone quality sounds like on the Beats Studio Pro headphones. This is raw audio recorded directly into the Voice Memos app without any kind of post-processing applied, so hopefully this gives you a good idea of what it sounds like. Now, a little side note, the microphone built into the Studio Pros is actually supposed to auto-set the gain of the microphone, depending on the environment that you're in, so that's helpful to know, but in general, they are like you just heard from the microphone. The quality, if you ask me, sounds pretty satisfactory. But something else I wanna quickly touch on here as it relates to performance is the lack of any kind of Apple chip built into the Beats Studio Pros, and instead now a proprietary Beats chip. Personally, I don't think this makes really much of a difference. You're still gonna pair your Beats pretty much the same way with ease on both Apple and Android products. And you are still getting that Apple Find My support to prevent losing these babies when you have them within the Apple ecosystem, but no multi-point connection capabilities here, which once again, is a letdown. Truthfully, it's not necessarily a feature I personally use every day, but I know for some of you out there, it's a must-have, and to not have that included in a pro pair of studio headphones, something I definitely wish they had, but unfortunately they don't. But I do want to point out here that you do get Dolby Atmos support, and more specifically, head tracking spatial audio support when you're using these headphones with your various Apple devices. So if that's your sort of thing, nice to see that added here. But speaking of listening, let's talk about the sound quality on these puppies and what constitutes them as being pro, specifically when you're listening to music. So on the Beats Studio Pros, out of the box and over Bluetooth, I'm pretty happy. Yes, the bass is a little bit bumped up, which I'm okay with. It's not quite what I would call overdone, and it does give you a little something extra, a little bass punchiness, which we've kind of come to expect from Beats products anyway. With overall things sounding pretty crisp, clear, and detailed without much, if any, muddiness going on at any volume level. The only thing I'd probably change is the slight harshness on the high end. I have noticed the high trebles on this pair of headphones to be a little overemphasized, which specifically with certain vocals and instruments can cause some harshness, leading to some rather ear-piercing sounds that ultimately throw off what would otherwise be a well-rounded, nicely executed, and balanced listening experience. You do also get active noise cancellation and transparency modes on the Beats Studio Pro, both of which are pretty great. The ANC performance is solid, not amazing, but solid. The transparency mode works. It allows you to hear pretty much everything you need to hear around you, but still somewhat artificial. It sounds a little digital, unlike transparency mode on some of the other headphones that almost sound like you're not even wearing a pair of earbuds or headphones. There is still, as of the making of this video, no Beats companion app to tweak the EQ settings, so you're stuck right out of the box with the sound balance when listening wirelessly this way. However, there is a way to select from one of 3 EQ presets when you're listening hardwired through USB-C, which also happens to be how you would listen and stream lossless audio through these. Now, since this is USB-C based, before you even ask, yes, it is still possible to use the Beats Studio Pros with your Lightning-based Apple products, like the iPhone 14 or older iPhones. But to do that, you are gonna need 2 very specific things. This Lightning to USB-A adapter, and this USB-A to USB-C cord. And this is kind of finicky here. Trust me, I've tried a bunch of different methods, even using one of Apple's own USB-C to Lightning cords, and for whatever reason, this is the only way I could actually get this connection to work between your Beats Studio Pros and your Lightning-based Apple products. I will leave links to the adapter and this cable in the comment section and the video description box below, so check those areas out if you need these. But once you do that, you will be able to choose between one of those 3 EQ presets with a simple double press of the power button. I'm just letting it fly with the Beats signature EQ preset and not even using the other one. So for me, the different EQ profiles, sound balance profiles, not even something I really even use. Now, lossless audio in general, if you don't know what that's gonna do, it's gonna get you higher bandwidth audio playback, which should sound better because you're listening to music with a wider dynamic range, allowing you to hear more of your music rather than less of it. And on the Beats Studio Pros, this does work, and this definitely does make a difference. Things definitely sound better when you're listening through lossless audio quality streaming. But there is still a catch. This will come at the expense of ANC and transparency mode. Unfortunately, that is the case if you want to be able to stream lossless audio to your Beats Studio Pros. You're gonna do that obviously hardwired, but that will also disable the ANC and transparency modes. So you can't use either of those when you're streaming lossless. So as excited as I was about the listening experience with lossless audio on the Beats Studio Pros, I gotta be honest, I'm pretty bummed out about how it was executed here. No EQ customization, no ANC, no transparency mode, a weird adapter setup that you have to use if you're using Lightning-based Apple products. It just seems like the whole lossless audio on the Beats Studio Pros so far has been a pretty big swing and a miss. I think for most users out there, it's just gonna make more sense to use the Beats Studio Pros as a Bluetooth pair of headphones, which ultimately kind of defeats the whole purpose of the Beats Studio Pro headphones themselves. Maybe not so much if you're looking to get a pair of Beats Studio headphones for the first time, but definitely more so if you're looking to upgrade. But a quick little note here on track controls and how you can change the volume of songs or the songs themselves that you're listening to. I've said for years now that I think the Beats Studio headphones and the Powerbeats Pro earbuds are some of the best examples of how to implement track controls and volume controls in a pair of headphones or earbuds, and the Beats Studio Pros are no exception. All of this topped off with hands-free Siri connectivity when you're using this with your Apple devices. So 10 out of 10 for track controls on the Beats Studio Pros. Pretty much flawless. But with all that we were just talking about, how long could you actually expect these headphones to last for? What's the battery life like on the Beats Studio Pros? Apple has advertised up to 24 hours of listening time with ANC or transparency mode turned on, or up to 40 hours of listening time with both of those modes turned off, which are indeed pretty great battery life numbers. But little side note here, there is no passive listening support, meaning you will need to actually have the Beats Studio Pros turned on if you're gonna be listening through the aux jack. But with the battery life as great as it is, I'd actually give this drawback a pass. And the Studio Pros do get quick charging. You're getting 4 hours of listening time on just a quick 10-minute charge. Love to see that. But with all this having been said, here are my final thoughts on the Beats Studio Pro headphones and whether or not these live up to the Pro name. I suppose when it comes down to it, the Beats Studio Pros are an upgrade, but perhaps just not as impactful or as large of an upgrade as I was hoping them to be. And they're definitely not as great or as pro as they probably could have been or should have been. What makes these Beats Studio Pro headphones special really comes down to 2 things. Number 1, you are gonna get a better out-of-the-box sound balance and listening experience over Bluetooth. And number 2, kind Kinda obvious here, the lossless streaming through USB-C. If you're getting a pair of Beats Studio headphones for the first time, go for the Pros if you can swing it. They are probably the best sounding pair of Beats headphones that I've heard to date, but things aren't really that far off from the Beats Studio 3s. So if you already have the Studio 3s, might as well keep those bad boys and save your money. If the Studio Pros offered EQ customization, and if you could take advantage of ANC while streaming lossless audio through that USB-C hardwired connection, I'd be in love with these a heck of a lot more, but unfortunately, there's a lot more shortcomings than I was hoping for in the Studio Pros, and I could have probably been a little bit better. Just saying. Nevertheless, if you want the latest deals, prices, promos, and information for the Beats Studio Pros, you guys can of course always head to my affiliate link, bmac.link/BeatsStudioPro. Of course, as always, there's gonna be a clickable link in the comment section and video description box below as well, so check those out. But with that having been said, time for me to go rock out. I'll see you guys in my next video.